Hi, this is Uri Mendel Weinberger. I'm a spiritual coach and mindfulness teacher. I'm really excited to talk to you today in this video about the letter Dalet, which is right up to my right, the fourth letter of the Aleph Bet. And there's a lot to say about it. Basically, the main theme is called selflessness, or bittul ayesh, nullifying the self. You might notice something different about the Dalet as compared to the other three letters that we learned about, Aleph, Bet, and Gimel. The Aleph has two legs on the base. The Bet has a horizontal line, which is the base, and the Gimel has two legs as well. The Dalet has only one leg. It's unstable. Looks like it's almost about to fall over. The form is of a poor man at the door, which is also one of the meanings of Dalet is Delet. So the poor man has nothing, and he has to take from others. In the Sfirot, it's the sphere of Malchut. Malchut receives, and really in the physical world we see the physical world receives from what's above it. It receives rain, receives sunlight, receives air, and all these things enable the physical world to exist. If we didn't have those things, the world wouldn't exist. So it's an idea of receptivity, which is a feminine quality, not the female, the feminine, which both men and women have. So that's in terms of the world. In terms of souls, we're going to go through world, souls, and divinity in the form, name, and number as we did before. So in terms of souls, it's the souls in the Beit HaMikdash when they would come for the pilgrimage festivals. So they would stand, all the men, there were women also, but the men were commanded to come on the three pilgrimage festivals of Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, and they would stand crowded, very crowded, and there seemed to be no room to do anything. But when the Kohanim would say God's name, then they would bow down, and that bowing is called prostrating wide, and they would do that, and there would be room for everyone, and that was one of the miracles of the temple, that there was room for everyone when they bowed down, and that was the idea of self-nullification before God. And that's also the divinity, is the bowing down of feeling we're nothing. We're nothing. All our life, all the good that we have is coming from God. So that's as far as the form. Now the name is Dalet, as I said before, is a door. The another name, Dal, means poor. Like we said, the poor man at the door. And another meaning, which is almost the opposite, is Dilitani, is lifting up. So we're going to see how these three work together. In terms of worlds, Rav Ginsburg, who is the inspiration for this class, he wrote a book called the Hebrew Letters, Channels of Creative Consciousness. I'm taking a lot of my material from him, and I'm very grateful for that. And he said that a scientist, he wants to discover something new, maybe a cure for a disease, or something new like the internet, or some law of physics like Einstein. So in order to make room for a new truth, or open the door to something that he hadn't been before, he has to put aside his knowledge, put aside his assumptions, put aside everything he thinks that is true, and be open to new ideas. And that putting aside is this bending over of the Dalet. So that's in terms of the worlds. In terms of souls, there's a phrase in the Torah that says "Ein ani ela b'dat." There's no poverty except for in self consciousness. So we said the idea of dal, which is poverty. So you could have a person who's wealthy, he has a honorable position, he's well known, he's liked, he has a family, he has possessions, has health, children, everything a person could ask for in this world. But in terms of what the Torah calls Ein Ani Ela B'dat, if he doesn't have consciousness of God, he's called a poor man. So that puts in perspective, the pursuit after material wealth, and we must balance that with the desire and the need for consciousness, God consciousness. And in terms of divinity, we have what's called bittul b'metzias mamish. So that would be, say, King David. King David wasn't even supposed to be born, and Adam and Rishon saw that he was supposed to be not an abortion, hapala, which means a miscarriage. And he gave him 70 years of his life, so he didn't really have his own life. He was given his life. And this is the idea of Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh means a person is willing to give up their life for the Torah, for God. And we have the three cardinal sins that you must give up your life and not transgress them, which are idol worship, murder, and immorality. So if, say, a goy would say, you must do one of these things, you must give up your life. And the famous case of this in the Torah is Rabbi Akiva, who was told by the Romans that you have to stop teaching Torah because it's forbidden. And Rabbi Akiva said, no, if I stop teaching Torah, I'll be like a fish out of water. It's my life. It's so that is another one of. So he gave his life for the Torah. And when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, the idea is taking on the yoke of heaven and being willing to give up our lives for the sake of the Torah and for God. So that's the name Dalet. And the last thing we have is the number. The number is 4. So there's a lot of 4s. There's a very important number in the Torah. In terms of worlds, we have the 4 directions. We have the 4 elements of fire, air, water, and earth, and the 4 states of matter, which is solid, liquid, gas, and combustible state. So also 4 seasons, 4 directions, everything connected to the physical world is the 4 is very important. In terms of souls, the famous 4 are the 4 matriarchs, the Imaot, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. And Yaakov himself had 4 wives, 2 Rachel and Leah, plus the 2 maidservants, who he also gave birth to each one 2 children. That was Bilhah and Zilpah. So we have other 4s in terms of four sons in the Pesach Seder, the 4 cups of wine, and then the mitzvah of puravu, of a man is commanded to have at least 2 children, a boy and a girl, so that makes 4, he and his wife and the 2 children. In terms of divinity, and this is a really important one, we have the 4-letter name of God, Yud and He and Vav and He. And this really is the name of creation, even though it says Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. This is the true source of creation. So the Yud is called the Tzimtzum, the contraction of God's infinite light to make room for a physical limited world, and the He, which is the expansion of that point, it's called Bina. The Yud is Chochmah and the He is Bina. And that's still, in a sense, God's thought, the spark of an idea and the expansion of the idea. The Vav represents speech. When God created the world, He spoke the world into being. And the He is the receiving all that energy to create a physical world. So that's some of the number 4 in divinity. Now, what do we do with all this? First of all, when we use mindfulness practice, we notice that we are receiving our breath. For example, if we meditate on the breath, we're receiving the breath, we're receiving oxygen that gives us our life, and we exhale the carbon dioxide that is the waste. So everything, the food we eat, we're receiving our life. The water we drink is receiving what we need to live. So that consciousness, really, to realize that we are this state of poverty, and it's a state of also gratitude for what we have. I suggest to use this as a meditative device, to look at the letter Dalet either on the screen or take the, find the letter Dalet somewhere, isolate it, look at it for 5 minutes, and then close your eyes for 10 minutes and bring up that letter in your mind's eye and just focus on it. And if your mind wanders, bring it back and keep bringing it back if it wanders to the past or the future, and just keep bringing it back, and also be open to any new ideas that you might have about the Dalet and how that works in your life. Where are you nullifying yourself? Where are you giving up your ideas, your way, and giving it to another, giving it to God's will? And that poverty is actually a source of joy, because we realize we're not in control, and God is in control. So thank you for listening. I'm going to continue to make these videos each week, a different letter, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please you can comment or write to me. I'll put my information in below this video. Again, I'm Uri Mendel Weinberger, a spiritual coach, and I am offering anyone interested a free consultation for coaching. So please reach out to me, and have a wonderful and productive day.